Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. I'm in the Tony Awards suite at Sofitel NYC, which is the official hotel to the 2019 Tony Awards, and I'm sitting with one of this season's Best Featured Actor in a Play nominees for his standout performance as Emery in The Boys in the Band. Please welcome Robin DeJesus. Thank you so much for dropping by today.
My absolute pleasure.
How
Thank
are
for having
you?
me. I'm well. It's like a really crazy, exciting time period, and I feel like I'm constantly just surrounded by energy, and I have to take moments, take deep breaths, and relax myself and make myself a person again because I'm just constantly extra.
Okay, when you found out that you were nominated for this, what went through your mind?
Relief, relief because a couple of days prior to it, I had this intuition, and I felt it rumble in my gut, and I thought, I think I'm gonna get nominated, and then it was I know I'm going to be, and then I was I can't share that with anyone because that's narcissistic, but then I did with a couple people who really really good friends who know me and love me and wouldn't judge me for saying that. And I was I think I feel this thing, and then that morning, doubt kicks in, and you're maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I don't know what gut is. Maybe I'm just a fool. And so when it happened, it was initial relief, release, and then I was just I've been emotional sort of since then. In a really different, weird. I don't know if it's adulthood or what, but I'm very very grateful. Yeah, in a way that normally takes practice for me to be that grateful. It just happens very naturally.
It's so well deserved.
Thank you.
But like I said, this was a while ago. But this production took this town by storm. I mean, I lived at your theater. We saw it so many times.
Yeah.
I mean, just what did you enjoy the most about working on The Boys in the Band?
Working.
Yeah.
Working was what I loved the most. I'm over the last few years, I've developed more and more neuroses. And I think that this show was the first challenge that allowed me to face that neuroses head on in a really, really vulnerable, scary way, especially because I couldn't help but get out of my head how high the stakes were with the men that were around me and with the opportunity that I was being given and with the role that was in front of me. Because when you read the play, at least for me, I look at Emery and I'm there is so much there. There's so much meat. And there was never a lack of resources. So I felt like anything that could possibly go wrong with Emery would be my fault. It was a choice. And so my ego just kind of kicked in more and more. And then what ended up happening was I was just observing everyone around me in the room and how they worked and how they enjoyed the process. And I realized that I was not enjoying the process.
Yeah.
And so once I was able to sort of face that, get rid of the thoughts of what this could do to me and just get in the room and just be really, really present, which is usually what I'm really good at as an actor. I feel like I'm here with people. I was not that in that moment. So that, I forgot what the question was already.
You spooked yourself.
100%.
Seriously, that's what we call it. Those voices come forward, but you were then you got in that rehearsal room with everybody and you realize everybody's there because they want to be there and they want to do the work.
I'm glad. Right? I like that term. I spooked myself.
Yeah, you
I'm
spooked
gonna use
yourself.
that. Thank you.
But it went away really fast.
No.
Well, all right.
But it did go away. It went away before performances. Yeah.
But it's a big deal. All right. Just talking, what kind of conversations did you have with Mark Crowley, who, of course, wrote Boys in the Band, and Joe Mantello? What were those conversations like? I
actually, believe it or not, I'm a big personality, but sometimes in the room I can get shy. It's I work in extremes. I'm either or shy. Yeah. And with Mark, I didn't know that it was okay for me to reach out to him. And so, he came to rehearsals, and he was present, especially right before preview started. And I knew Michael Benjamin Washington had written him. I knew a couple other people had. Yeah. And he wrote Michael Benjamin this really, really beautiful email that really cooed him in a way. And I was like, I want that. And then I don't know what happened. At one point, I finally emailed him. And he goes, I've been waiting. He goes, every other person has emailed me but you. And he was like, I've just been waiting for you. And then he gave me a really, really great email. Yeah. And it ended up cooing me as well. Yeah.
Was it sort of an insight to what he saw you as Emery or who Emery was or what? Without giving too much away of the email, but what sort of what about that email helped you on your way with your performance?
Well, I think he he told me I was already doing what he wanted me to do. And I don't think I was at a place yet where I was recognizing that what I was doing was on track.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was going off the rails, or I had made a hard left turn. And he was like, no, you're doing what you need to be doing. And that was the big takeaway. And that was actually, like, that's part of the facing the neuroses, is like recognizing what is fact and what is feeling. And I was really caught up in my feelings and not seeing reality because of that.
Now, Joe Mantello invited you to the party.
Yeah.
I mean, so you would work with Joe on Wicked, of course, right?
Yeah, I worked with Joe, but I didn't get to work with him one-on-one.
Because you were put into the show later.
Yeah. And I got to give Joe mad props, because, like, he is the reason the piece is as good as it is.
Yeah.
And Joe has a lot of vision, and Joe has a lot of courage, because traditionally you wouldn't have put, like, Puerto Rican Latino kid as Emery. And it wasn't even, there wasn't a concern about that, I don't think. It was just like, oh yeah, Robin. And I find, for me, often as an actor, I'm off to the side, and the roles tend to be not as layered and complex. And so I have to make a lot of stuff up that's not there on paper a lot. And with this, that wasn't the case. And so it's so satisfying and satiating to get a role where you don't have to be extra. Maybe that's why I was extra, because I'm so used to that.
Yeah.
And making up stuff. And actually, I wasn't used to just having everything I need there.
So when were you the happiest with your Emery?
Ooh. When was
or content with him?
The quiet performances. Like that show is really difficult to know when you're in the pocket, when you're in the groove. It doesn't always feel right. It can feel sort of icky, but it's the performances where you're most present, and where all you're connected with is this eye contact with this person and this person. That those are the moments, the really, really quiet ones. It's never a show where I'm like, oh my God, that was amazing. No, it's a quiet thing.
Yeah. Can't turn head.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, working with this company of actors, the best of the best. Favorite moments or memories of working with the guys.
Favorite moments of working with the guys. I would say Charlie Carver's birthday was one of the best nights. We went to karaoke. Yeah. We got one of those rooms in Koreatown, and Matt Bomer bought a bunch of wigs, and like we just lived our lives. It was uninhibited joy in a tiny room, and then afterwards, just coming out a little tipsy, a lot. And that night was it was a really nice warm night out with a good breeze. And so coming out, it was one of those like magical New York moments. And I do remember stepping aside and being like, I just did karaoke with like Matt Bomer and Zachary Quinto and Andrew Rannells. Like, this is like gay heaven.
What did you sing? Did you have like a favorite number you did that night?
I did Almost Paradise with Andrew Rannells at one point. That was really, really fun. I don't even remember what else I did. That's the moment that I remember. But Matt Bomer, I mean, first of all, the man can sing. Yeah. He can really, really sing. And he did CeeLo's Forget You, except it wasn't Forget You, it was the other lyric. Yeah. And he also did like a prayer. Yeah. And that was, I wish he could have been there. Yeah.
Because you all became a very tight company. This production of The Boys in the Band was life-changing, as every production was before. It was groundbreaking in the original production. The movie was groundbreaking because, again, the same cast that opened the show in New York got to do the film version. This new production, not even a revival, this new production that you all did, and you were all out gay men, which was very rare to do. I mean, that's a big deal, and now you're all getting to do the film.
It is an embarrassment of riches. Yeah, there were a couple of times where I'd look around and be like, "Oh, that's right," and I'd just like have little giggles to myself because I would forget, because I'd just be like so in my stuff, it actually amazed me and impressed me more and more. Usually it's like the first day of rehearsal, you're like, oh my God, but that wasn't the case for me. It happened later on, which was even more satisfying. And the way our dressing rooms were set up, there were
where were
3
they
people.
all? Yeah.
So there were 3 dressing rooms per floor, but there was a top floor. There was a shortage of rooms, and so the room upstairs was just one big room, the whole floor. But it was it was used for storage. There was like black curtains everywhere blocking furniture or whatever. And there was a whole thing about who wanted to take that room. and like I think Michael Benjamin checked it. I was like, nah, I'm good. Someone else checked it. I was like, nah, I'm not walking up those flights. And I was like, well, I'm gonna be shirtless in the play at some point, so I'll use the extra steps. And I
You
saw
called
the
it the
room.
attic,
I
didn't
called
you?
it the attic. I totally called it the attic. And I lived up there, and sometimes because I had that whole floor to myself, I had less interaction with the guys before the show.
Yeah.
But that just allowed me to have some really good quiet time, almost like a meditation. And in those quiet moments, I would have those little waves of gratitude would kick in and excitement and even like right before the show, sometimes there were a few of us. It was me, Tuck Watkins, and Andrew Randalls that would be together because we entered the show together. And you could feel buzziness sometimes. It'd be a random day and there'd be like a buzz between us. And it was like, oh, we didn't have that yesterday, but cool.
Like, what was the last thing you did before you walked through the door as Emery, like at any given performance?
I knocked on wood. I had the casserole dish on my hands, and we'd walk up the stairs, and then there was a good piece of wood on the outside, and I knock on it, and I get really OCD about it. I was like, I knocked with my right, I got to knock with the left now. So you'd see me with like the casserole dish, just like trying to figure out how to hold it. I wasn't always successful. I never dropped it though. That was my fear, was that you'd hear a casserole dish just dropping at the top of the show.
Emery drops the casserole dish.
It was fine.
But I mean, this is a big deal for you too, because we all fell in love with you when you first came to New York.
Thank you.
We all fell in love with you in musicals and everything else. Your career has just escalated. You got to work on one of the most groundbreaking plays. I mean, have you been able to put all that into perspective? I mean, you took this iconic role of Emery that we all fell in love with Cliff Gorman doing, of course, in the film. Totally.
Yeah.
And then the torch has been passed to you.
I will say this. My existence is very odd. Yeah. It's very much an anomaly because I may not be that guy that's like constantly on Broadway every single season.
Yeah.
But the shows that come up that I've been in, I feel like have always been very fortunate and very touched.
Yeah. Go ahead. There's wood. Lots of wood.
And so what Rent meant for me growing up, and then what In the Heights meant for me as a Latino, and the representation and the fact that it was so positive, and meeting that crew of people that became family for life. Going to do La Cage, that was the first year that marriage equality was being brought up in New York. And so the show was really, really relevant then for the gay community, and also odd because I often found myself looking at shows that were gay themed, and they were also depressing. And I was like, where are the happy gays? I mean, the word literally gay means happy, and then I was like, oh, that's right, I'm doing La Cage. I was like, I forget that is like one of the most joyous gay shows ever. God bless you, Jerry Herman. So that show was really important at that time. And even when I replaced in Wicked, that was the first show I could bring my niece to, because she was too young to see all the other shows. So I guess the shows that I've done here in New York, I've always felt really fortunate that they are noble without me putting that on myself as if I'm trying to be noble. It just was luck.
Yeah. And now you're getting ready to film.
Yeah.
Tell us.
So Ryan and Joe had Ryan Murphy and Joe Mantello, by the way. They are director and producer. They let us know kind of early on that there was the intention to make a movie of this, which that was a doozy, and that can mess with your head. And so
you spook yourself during
that was like part of the spook, because it was like, don't be the only dude that doesn't get asked back, because that would really suck.
Yeah.
That would feel icky. And so, but I was able to remove that from my internal monologue most days. But it was also just like so thrilling, and then after the show was done, I think there was a moment too where we thought maybe we'll do the show again at some point as a play.
Yeah.
And so that was really, really exciting. And I thought, the movie's gonna take a couple of years, like it's gonna be a while. But then the rumblings already started from certain people, and I was like, oh, I guess this is a thing. And I even went to LA to visit friends of mine that were touring, and someone said to me, hey, I heard something, and I was like, what? Who told you? Oh, real boy. It's super duper exciting, but it was more exciting when I got the phone call that it was official. And then the more and more, like after we finished negotiating, I'm like, no, this is really, really, really happening.
Yeah.
And I think we're all excited. I think everyone's really thrilled. I think everyone recognizes what a great opportunity it is for visibility. I think also the fact that we're fortunate enough to repeat what the original movie did and casting the original company, like that was already an anomaly. And now for it to be a double anomaly, it's like, it's kind of ridiculous, but that's Ryan Murphy.
Yeah.
And that's his vision. And that's what he knew he wanted from jump. And he follows through.
How often do you all text each other or like email the cast?
It's less frequent now. Actually now it's picking up again because everyone's getting ready for the movie and getting excited.
Yeah.
But like weekly we have a combo going on in there, and there's like a whole bunch of gifts that go, or like someone will see someone's Instagram account, see something funny, and message it to the group or whatever. And I meet up with Michael Benjamin here and there, and Charlie Carver, and we like love and adore one another. Yeah.
This was, like I said, life-changing for a lot of people. What was it like meeting the fans outside the stage door, and how your performance and the show itself touched people?
That was really cool because a lot of the people that came to the stage door were there to see Jim, Matt, Zach, and Andrew, and so to sort of after that first performance, they were so excited to see them. But as the summer progressed, they began to show me more and more love as well, and it was really, really sweet. I kind of felt like I won them over a little bit, and that sounds kind of cocky. I didn't mean it that way, but it felt nice.
Yeah,
it felt super duper nice, and they still follow me on Instagram. They'll still send me messages. They've been congratulating me. Like, I saw the show because of Matt, but like I'm so proud of you, and I hope everything goes well for you with the show and the movie. And it's a lot of love. Yeah. It's a lot of love.
There's a lot of love on Broadway, isn't there?
Well, there always has been.
Yeah.
It's just been interesting because for me, it's evolving over the years as more and more celebrities have come in. I think there was a period of sort of disorientation as to like where the Broadway community was and the people that were from the outside coming in, and there was like that capitalism versus art not argument, but just like everything was ironing out. And I think over the last couple of years, a lot of directors and producers have found this really happy medium of finding names that fill the seats in, but then combining it with really amazing, really capable actors from Broadway who need to be seen as well.
Yeah.
And Joe is like amazing about that as well.
Yeah.
I'm happy for that. I feel like that's the best place for us to go for everyone to be succeeding.
Beautiful. Finally, if you could sum up the best part of the experience of working on Boys in the Band, what was it for you?
Learning how to take up my space while still sharing it with others. And I'm repeating myself, I've been saying that, but that was the lesson I need to learn. I need to hear it, I need to learn it, and I need to learn it, really learn it and put it into practice. And I'm still learning that, but I'm so much better than I was before.
It was a perfect ensemble.
Yeah.
That whole show was a perfect ensemble, the best of the best, doing what you do best.
Thank you. It was really great. Anytime there was a day where you didn't feel present or you felt more challenged or whatever, it was really cool to be like, oh, I can just turn this way, and there's this whole new set of eyes that I wasn't looking at, and that those would be the resources that I had been looking for. And so every day it was so easy to give a different show or to discover a new relationship. So it was incredibly stimulating. And then when you're stimulated like that, it's so much more fun and playful to do the work. And that's the best part. When you're loving the show, you're loving what you're doing, you're loving the people. Yeah. That's the goal. That's the goal. And to be able to stay there for a few months was such a great gift, and I can't wait to get back in July.
Well, it's been so great for me watching, because I knew you from the very beginning, and watch the progression you have had with your career. I've been telling a lot of people this. I mean, you have moved from musicals to being like top notch in these plays, holding your own with the very, very best, because you're brilliant at what you do.
Thank you. And I want to say something to you, which is 2010 was a year where there was a massive influx of celebrities on Broadway. And going to the luncheon for the Tony nominees was a really weird thing. It was really hard on the press agents for repping the people from the Broadway community, because a lot of the outlets didn't want to see them. They wanted to see the really, really famous people. And you stayed really hardcore and true to the Broadway community, because we were one of the only ones that fought for us to make sure that we got interviewed as well. So I wholeheartedly appreciate that, and thank you for like being ride or die.
That means the world to me. I love what you do. You guys make magic 8 times a week. No one else can do what you do.
Thank you.
Here's to Broadway.
Yes.
I love you.